So this video focuses on the news media and the overall influence that media actually has in sort of like the development of your political thought. So these are referred to as the theories of media influence. So on the one extreme, you have what we call like the limited effects theory, and this is really the belief that media doesn't really have a whole lot of influence over people's opinions. And this is for one primary reason is that people feel more comfortable sort of seeking out sources of media that they already know agree with them, and sort of avoid sources of media that they know will present an opinion that they disagree with, that'll challenge their already existing beliefs and views. So the effect that like media is having in people that believe this is that it's just kind of like confirming your beliefs. It's making you maybe stronger in your beliefs, but it's not like challenging or changing your beliefs. So, a liberal will be more likely to seek out like CNN or MSNBC. A conservative would be more likely to seek out like Fox for their news. Like, it's not changing your opinion about a topic. It's just probably making you more passionate about the topic. The next theory is called the class dominant theory. And this is the theory that more media is more influential than the first theory would give it credit for. And then it's influential in that it really reflects the views and the opinions of like the elite people that control it. So you remember like at the beginning of the year we talked about elite theory of democracy, where it's like the extreme few have the ability to sort of like really influence politics, and this would go along with that. In that media organizations, companies, these massive billion-dollar companies are owned by like the wealthiest individuals, and they have the ability to sort of like put on their sort of like media platforms opinions that they agree with, and then that can influence like the masses of citizens. A great example of this is like Rupert Murdoch, who is the owner of like News Corp, right? Which along many platforms he owns like Fox. And like these are all of sort of like the media outlets that Murdoch's company sort of like is control over. And you see just how many like newspapers, TV channels, like not just in the United States, but like globally, print media sources have the reach, right? And how these sources in many cases sort of display the views of like Murdoch, and just the amount of impact that gives him and the amount of influence that gives him. Um, or if you look at like a company like Disney, look at all the sort of like media offshoots that like the Disney Corporation sort of owns. Again, it's like very there's lots of choices out there in terms of media, but it's like the illusion of choice, because what you don't realize is like most of those channels and sources are actually owned by like the same handful of companies. The next theory is called the culturalist theory, and this is just that people interpret the news based on their own life experiences. This is really like an individual influence kind of thing, where you can have two people watch the same news source and it'll have different sort of impacts on each individual or influence on each person based on like their experiences that they've gone through in their own personal lives.